At the age of 9, in order to save Yu Yan, I was hit by the shockwave from an explosion and have had to wear a hearing aid ever since. He felt very guilty. He took the initiative to request an engagement with me, vowing with reddened eyes, "Sister Xiaohe, I will take care of you for the rest of my life." But at the age of 18, in order to complete the school beauties test, he personally removed my hearing aid and, in front of the school beauty and classmates, said with disgust, "You little burden, I've long been fed up with you. I really wish you hadn't been saved back then at 9 and had just died." Clutching the ear recovery report in my bag, I didn't say a word. After returning, I silently changed my college entrance exam and took my parents to call off the engagement. "Yu Yan, from now on the mountains are high and the roads are long. You and I need not meet again. Xiaohe, I really wish you hadn't been saved back then at 9 and had just died." After Yu Yan said this, the atmosphere in the private room instantly became heated. Wow, it's got to be Brother Yan who's awesome. Next time, when Xiaohe's deafness is cured, just say it right in her ear. I'm really curious if she'll cry when she hears it. Her submissive look is just like a green tea bitch. What can she do even if she hears it? A cripple has no one who wants her. It's only Brother Yan who's merciful enough to dote on her, right? I stood frozen in place, clenching the recovery report in my bag tightly, not knowing what to do. After the college entrance exam ended, my parents took me to seek medical treatment in another place, curing my ear condition, so I no longer needed to wear a hearing aid. Today is my birthday party. I had originally planned to give Yu Yan a surprise today, to tell him that my ears were healed and that I would no longer be his burden. But I never expected that this carefully planned surprise would allow me to hear the bloody truth behind it all. Yu Yan's words were almost like a sharp blade, thrust deeply into my heart, stirring it until I couldn't breathe. My nails dug into my palms, sending waves of pain. I bit my lower lip tightly, looked up at Yu Yan, and wanted to ask him why. But he acted as if he hadn't noticed me. He lowered his head, playing with that white hearing aid, smiling teasingly and casually. "That's enough. After all, Xiaohe saved my life when we were kids. Watch your words and don't let it get back to her." Everyone immediately understood. All right, we brothers promise to keep our mouths shut. TSK, for Xiaohe to latch onto Brother Yan, it's worth it even if she remains deaf for life. With that, there was another burst of laughter. All right, Xiaohe is at least a delicate girl, not like me who's easygoing and can hang out with you guys. Don't go too far. Yu Mingqi walked over with a smile and announced solemnly, "Yu Yan, you've passed my test. Now I believe you don't like Xiaohe. So, tomorrow we can go on a date." Yu Yan's brows were tinged with a smile, the tenderness in his eyes seemingly ready to overflow as he hoarsely agreed, "Okay." I stared blankly, my mind a complete blank. It felt as if the world had stood still. The crowd's mocking laughter, cheers, and hoots invaded my ears, eventually turning into a sharp ringing. "Baby, what are you thinking about?" As I was lost in thought, Yu Yan had already put the hearing aid back on me, a smile curling at the corners of his mouth. "So happy or dumbstruck?" Originally, it was supposed to be happiness. Coming of age at 18, being confessed to by the boy I liked, confirming our relationship in front of friends. It was like acting in an idol drama. But now I opened my mouth only to find my throat so dry I couldn't speak. Others scrambled to speak. "Little sister-in-law, Brother Yan just took off your hearing aid and said a whole bunch of mushy love words. They gave us all goosebumps. TSK, I wish I had a childhood sweetheart too." "Nice one, kid." Yu Mingqi slung her arm around Yu Yan's shoulder, laughing as she lightly punched his chest. "You're so lucky to have landed such a gentle beauty." I didn't say anything. My gaze swept over everyone's faces in the private room. Some were smiling congratulations, others giving thumbs-ups and compliments, and a few even talking about waiting to drink at the wedding. No one showed the slightest flaw, their expressions were as natural as could be. I suddenly thought back to the many gatherings this year, big and small, where moments like this had occurred. Yu Yan would take off my hearing aid, his eyes soft as he spoke, though I never knew what he said. Later, he would put the hearing aid back on me. And everyone would say he was whispering sweet nothings, making vows, promising never to let me down. If I hadn't cured my ears and heard the fragments of glass hidden beneath his tender words, those utterly dreadful remarks, I fear I would never have known the truth. Yi Mingqi suddenly let out an oops. She let go of the man's shoulder and apologized to me breezily. Sorry, Xiaohe. We're used to messing around like this among brothers. Don't be jealous, okay? Yu Yan laughed and scolded, oh, come on. You're always acting like a reckless boy. Where's your femininity? With that, the two started chasing and playfully roughhousing as if no one else was around. Everyone looked on as if this were perfectly normal. I closed my eyes briefly, then turned to leave, but sharp-eyed Yi Mingqi reached out and stopped me. Her eyes were full of disapproval. Everyone's here at your birthday party out of respect for you. And now you're just going to leave. Yu Yan ruffled my hair, seemingly exasperated as he tried to soothe me. You haven't even opened the birthday gifts everyone brought. Don't throw a princess tantrum, all right? I frowned and instinctively pulled away. Ignoring the suddenly darkened and unreadable expression on Yu Yan's face, I told him word by word, we're breaking up. Don't contact me again. Then I left the private room without looking back. On the way home, my phone kept buzzing with messages. Yu Yan sounded baffled. What's wrong with you now? Everyone came all the way to celebrate your birthday and brought you gifts, and you just left them hanging like that. Yi Mingqi was just happy. She's outgoing and straightforward, not all fake and fussy like you girls. Sure, she put her arm around my shoulder, but she let go quickly and even apologized to you, didn't she? A few other friends also mentioned me in the class group chat. Xiaohe, aren't you going a bit too far? Walking out and sulking for no reason. What did we ever do to you? Man, kindness really is wasted on some people. I found it ridiculous and coldly replied, who's the one going too far, before blocking them one by one and leaving the class group. When I got home, I briefly told my parents what had happened. I pursed my lips, facing my concerned mom and dad. The sour, aching pain in my heart suddenly surged up, and my voice trembled uncontrollably. I don't like him anymore. I don't want to go to university in Shanghai with him, and I don't want to be with him or marry him. Mom wiped away my tears tenderly. Sweetie, this isn't a big deal. Dad and I will take you to call off the engagement tomorrow. Wherever you want to apply, we'll support you. We've got your back. Dad led me to the living room and placed the cake knife in my palm. We didn't even get to send the cake over before you came back. Perfect, just the three of us, a simple, peaceful birthday together. 18 years ago, when you were born, I smiled so much my face cramped up. Don't cry, birthday girl. Come on, cut the cake and make a wish, okay? I laughed through my tears and made a wish as my parents looked on, then blew out the candles. Just as I was about to cut the cake, the doorbell rang, interrupting us. I composed myself and opened the door, only to find Yu Yan had come after me. Outside, a light rain had started falling. Thunder rumbled occasionally, accompanied by flashes of white lightning. Yu Yan was soaked through, his hair dripping incessantly, but he ignored it completely. He just smiled and handed me a beautifully wrapped jewelry box. Look, I carefully picked out this birthday gift for you. Stop sulking, okay? Everyone's still waiting for you at the private room. And don't just throw around the word breakup anymore, alright? Looking at the diamond bracelet in the box, it suddenly looked very familiar to me. The necklace Yi Mingqi wore today seemed to be from the same brand. I remained unmoved and didn't take it. Yu Yan's arm hung awkwardly in the air. After a long moment, he lowered his now numb arm and asked impatiently, What's gotten into you today? You were almost in tears when you agreed to my confession earlier. Why the sudden change of heart? Xiaohe, do you even remember how obedient and sweet you used to be? My heart felt heavy. I didn't even want to talk to him. I'd been living in a beautiful dream, thinking he only had eyes for me, that we'd go to university in Shanghai together, eat together, live together, and eventually get engaged, married, and have children after graduation. Until today, when the bloody truth was laid bare. I finally understood that he didn't love me at all. To him, I was just a burden who had saved his life as a child, nothing significant enough to stir any real feelings. I took a deep breath and calmly repeated, I'm not sulking. The breakup is real. Don't contact me again. But Yuyen suddenly lost his temper. He threw the jewelry box to the ground, his brows furrowed with anger. Xiaohe, are you ever going to stop with this crap? Before he could finish, he was interrupted. Dad stepped in front of me protectively, frowning slightly. Xiaoyan, watch your language. You're soaked. You should head back, take a hot shower, and get some rest. It's getting late, so I won't ask you to stay for dinner. Mom smiled politely as she handed him a piece of cake. He has already made her wish, and she doesn't need any more gifts. Take this cake back with you. Get home safe. Boys should also be careful when out and about. Yuyen was stunned for a long time. And I probably knew why. In the past, whenever he visited, my parents had always been warm and welcoming. They'd never refused to let him in before. He couldn't understand why their attitude had changed today and seemed to want to say something, hesitating. But the door had already slammed shut in his face. I really didn't have much of an appetite. I took a couple of bites of cake and went in my room to sleep. Mom was worried and sat by my bed, asking, have you really thought this through? Dad had to keep some distance, but Mom was the one who understood and cared about me the most in the world, and she knew best how I felt about Yuyen. She knew exactly how much I liked him. I looked down at the white hearing aid in my hand. Suddenly, I didn't know what to say. It just struck me how much people can change. When we first moved to this villa area as kids, I loved following Yuyen around, calling him brother. Our families got along well and even had business dealings. One day, we went together to a factory in the suburbs, and an explosion suddenly occurred. I remembered the survival tips my parents had taught me and managed to escape. But Yuyen was trapped in the fire. Watching the flames grow fiercer, seeing him frozen in place, his figure gradually consumed by the fire. I don't know where I found the strength. Before anyone could react, I rushed in, grabbed Yuyen, and ran out with him. We were so close to getting out. But then the factory exploded. The shockwave severely injured me, and I fell into a coma for a long time. When I woke up, I couldn't hear anymore. My parents' faces were tense, and Yuyen's parents seemed to want to say something but held back. I stayed in bed all day, listless, not wanting to talk or interact with anyone. Yuyen stopped going to school altogether. He brought me all kinds of snacks, but I remained unmoved. Thinking the hospital was too depressing, he secretly took me out and brought me to a shop to get this white hearing aid. He even drew the rice stalks and little fish on it himself. He was just a kid himself, but clumsily, he put the hearing aid on me and promised earnestly, Sister Xiaohe, I'll protect you from now on. The tutor said that he in your name means rice or millet, and later it came to mean rice seedlings too. The teacher said rice is amazing, it grows strong and never stops. Sister Xiaohe, you'll get better too. A little fish only has a 7-second memory, but I won't. I'll always protect you, my princess. The vows we made as children, only I remembered them. If 9-year-old Xiaohe could hear 18-year-old Yuyen say, I wish you hadn't been saved and had just died, she might have cried from the hurt. But over the years, I'd endured plenty of whispers because of my hearing impairment. I came to accept Yuyen's change in attitude. People grow up. Back then, I saved his life, and the Yu family tried to make amends. Over the years, they'd given up nearly half their profits. That was sincerity enough. In the end, we owed each other nothing. And I believed I was a real person, not anyone's accessory, and didn't need to rely on anyone to live. So, looking up at my mom, I said firmly, I've thought it through. With my mom's support, I changed my college application. From Shanghai to Beijing. I thought I'd toss and turn all night, but surprisingly, I slept exceptionally well. I slept straight through till noon. Bleary-eyed, I instinctively checked my phone. And found 2 voice messages from a QQ contact I'd marked as special care. It was Yuyen. From the speaker, his voice carried a hint of coldness. Xiaohe, if you're done throwing your tantrum, unblock me. How old are you, still playing these games? Mingqi felt so guilty about you storming off yesterday. She said she didn't know how to make it up to you and even went up to the rooftop, about to attempt suicide. Luckily, I talked her down. There's still some time before summer break ends. I'm planning to take her and a few buddies to Harbin for some skiing and relaxation. Don't be jealous. After all, her attempted suicide was partly because of you. I was so amused by this shameless remark that I laughed. Yimingchi? No way she'd actually want to die. Back in school, she always called herself the woman among women, the fighter among men, and loved to claim she wasn't like those fake, pretentious girls who wore no makeup and acted aloof. But her tactics? I'd seen plenty. Take 4 months ago, when my best friend Lin Nua held her coming-of-age party. She carefully picked out a dress, did her makeup, and planned to take some beautiful milestone photos. But Yimingchi just wouldn't cooperate. As soon as she entered the private room, she laughed loudly and said, Lin Nua, you've got quite the figure. Have you slept with a guy before? Don't be shy, we're all friends here. What's there to hide? Seeing Lin Nua cry from anger, she immediately made a surrender gesture and even turned the blame around. Seriously? You girls cry that easily? Can't even take a joke. Fine, my bad. See, this is why I don't like hanging out with you girls. Too much drama over nothing. Another time, when everyone was grinding through college entrance exam prep, exhausted like dogs, she gleefully took unflattering photos of everyone, turned them into memes, and posted them all on the school's confession page with the caption, Class 3, Grade 12's class beauty, come claim her if you like. It only stopped after everyone jointly reported her to the homeroom teacher. Besides, I'd known for 2 years that she joined the basketball team under the guise of being a club assistant just to get close to Yuyen. I just never took her seriously. Back then, I was arrogant, thinking what was mine wouldn't be easily taken away. Now that she really had taken him, I accepted it. Call it my fault for misjudging, saving an ungrateful snake when I was little. Xiaohe, if you have any conscience left, come and apologize to everyone, especially Mingqi. Yuyan's messages kept popping up. Without even finishing the voice messages, I blocked his QQ too and deleted him. Outside my door, Mom urged me to go buy winter clothes together. Beijing winters are a bit chilly. Let's get you some thick clothes. I nodded and agreed. But I never expected that after buying clothes on the second floor of the mall and preparing to leave, I'd run into Yuyen and his group. Among 7 or 8 guys, Yimingchi stood out in a striking black miniskirt. Sharp-eyed, she spotted me, walked over slowly, and familiarly took my arm. Xiaohe, what a coincidence. I was so guilty about yesterday. I didn't think you'd be so upset. I just treat Yuyen like a brother, don't be mad, okay? Yimingchi wiped away non-existent tears and continued, it really is my fault. If I'd been more mindful, you wouldn't have left. Auntie, even though I was so guilty, I almost jumped off the rooftop. Please don't blame me. Had enough. Mom interrupted her, mocking with a smile. Young girls these days don't learn anything good, always pulling this female brother or innocent act nonsense. My daughter doesn't bother with you because we've raised her to have boundaries and not resort to foul language easily. But what about your parents? Always hanging around boys all day, do you even know how to write boundaries between men and women? If your parents won't teach you, let Auntie tell you. Your kind of behavior is what they call online. Oh right, tomboyish tease. I couldn't help but laugh. Quickly pushing her away, I threw out, you have body odor. We're not close, so please don't act familiar. Yimingji stiffened. Hearing my mom's words, her eyes immediately reddened, and she stood there at a loss. Delu immediately jumped to her defense. Auntie, do you have any manners? Mingqi almost jumped off a building because of your daughter. I glanced at him briefly. Remembered that yesterday, the line, what can she do even if she hears it? A cripple has no one who wants her. It's only Brother Yen who's merciful enough to dote on her, right? Came from him. Felt a wave of disgust. Xiaohe. Yu Yan instinctively wanted to approach me, to take my hand as he used to. A Yen. Hearing Yu Mingqi's soft call, his gaze landing on her reddened eyes, Yu Yan ultimately didn't step forward. He pulled out a tissue to wipe her tears and couldn't help but say, Auntie, what you said was too much. Mingqi didn't mean it. This was Xiaohe throwing a tantrum, and it nearly drove her to suicide. Mingqi is young, just graduated high school. She's only 19. 19? Mom raised an eyebrow, then smiled. You say she's young at 19, but my daughter is only 18. both at the prime of their youth. My daughter did nothing wrong, so how is she the villain who nearly caused someone's death? Yuyen, Auntie still remembers you playing with Hehe when you were little, vowing to protect her. But you've changed so much. Auntie is truly disappointed in you. Yuyen was momentarily speechless. Even wiping Yumingqi's tears, he seemed distracted. The few behind him, perhaps unable to find retorts, stayed silent. I found it pointless and was about to leave with my mom. But Yuyen suddenly grabbed my wrist. Looking down at the winter clothes in the shopping bag, he instinctively said, "There's no need for such thick clothes in Shanghai." Then, as if struck by an idea, his eyes lit up and his grip on my wrist tightened. So, blocking me and throwing tantrums, it was all just being tsundere, huh? Buying these winter clothes, you want to come skiing with us in Harbin, right? He rationalized, the corners of his mouth uncontrollably lifting. All right, stop sulking. I'll book a ticket for you later. Tomorrow at 10 a.m., we leave together. You've got it wrong. I pulled my hand away, ruthlessly shattering his fantasy. I'm not going to Harbin with you. I'm going to Beijing. And my ears have long been healed. The smugness on Yuyen's face vanished. You? What did you say? Yuyen paled, disbelief written all over him. When did this happen? Why didn't you tell me? I smiled, my eyes cold and distant. Does it matter? You know full well what you did when you thought I couldn't hear, don't you? Yuyen clenched his fists, standing frozen, unable to speak. Yimingqi's eyes flashed with jealousy, and she bluntly accused me. Who knew Xiaohe? Such a good actress. We all know your hearing damage was permanent, cured just like that. After speaking, she feigned surprise, eyes wide. Don't tell me you think that just because you're not a cripple anymore, a yen will like you again and treat you like a princess? TSK, never pegged you for such a schemer, Xiaohe. A yen, don't fall for it. Yuyen's eyes brightened, quickly shaking off his guilt, a smug smile returning to his lips. Mingqi's right. Xiaohe, stop messing around. I never said I minded you being a cripple, so why lie to me? Tell you what, take back what you said, agree to come to Harbin with us, and I'll forget you lied to me. This is your last chance. I was utterly stunned by his words. Couldn't fathom his twisted logic at all. Taking my mom's arm, I turned and left. And behind me, someone suddenly said, I feel like there's something different about Xiaohe. Different how? Isn't it just her face and outfit? Can't put my finger on it, just feels like something's missing. Yumingqi replied, full of grievance. Xiaohe has always been aloof. You're probably just imagining things. The person scratched their head and said, then I must have been mistaken. The next day, Yuyen used Yumingqi's phone to call me several times in a row. I didn't answer a single one. With boarding time approaching and only a few dozen minutes left to get to the airport, Yuyen had no choice but to get in the car with the others. Yet he couldn't resist sending a message. Xiaohe, you really need to learn your lesson. When he boarded the plane, my parents and I were already sitting in the Yu family's old residence. Yu's mother held my hand, unable to stop praising. Hehe, you're getting more and more beautiful. Your parents say Yuri's scoring over 600 on this year's college entrance exam. What a good child. Auntie can't wait for you to marry in and help me keep that rascal Yuyen in line. Hearing these endless compliments. Sitting on the sofa, I found it hard to bring up the real reason for my visit. I didn't know where to start about calling off the engagement. After all, over the years, Uncle Yu and Auntie Yu had been very good to me. They'd send birthday gifts in advance, we'd have New Year's Eve dinner together as families, and my red envelope was always the biggest. After the two families had chatted for a while, I finally stated my purpose. Uncle, Auntie, I've come today with my parents to cancel the engagement that was arranged when I was 9. Yu's mother was startled and quickly grabbed my hand. Hehe, did Yuyen do something to upset you? Tell Auntie, and I'll help you teach him a lesson. That rascal never learns anything good, only knows how to make you angry. I shook my head, my tone very calm. He already has someone he likes. I've also realized that my feelings for Yuyen aren't romantic love. Besides, Uncle, Auntie, marriage is free now. Let's just nullify that childhood engagement, shall we? Yu's mother's expression darkened. She was about to say something when Yu's father interrupted. Hehe, where's your hearing aid? Mentioning this, my parents immediately beamed. She went to another city for treatment. Her ears are back to normal now. Yu's mother was overjoyed but still reluctant. Hee, why don't you wait until Yen comes back to talk? He has a right to know. You used to follow him around all the time when you were little, and you even saved his life. How can those feelings just disappear? I looked down at the slightly rippling tea on the coffee table. Finally, I hardened my resolve. Auntie, neither he nor I like each other. Let's not torment ourselves. Yu's father sighed, clearly understanding our family's stance. He stopped Yu's mother from trying to persuade further and ordered the butler to bring the marriage contract. Watching the two contracts being torn up, burned, and turned to ashes, I finally breathed a sigh of relief. I asked them, Auntie, please don't tell anyone about this for now. We'll let it out slowly later. They both nodded in agreement. But that evening, I received a call from Yen. Instinctively, I thought he'd found out about the engagement being called off. Unexpectedly, he said helplessly, how can you be so stupid as to fill out your college application wrong? If I hadn't kept an eye on it, you'd be going to university in Beijing. I've already changed your application back for you. Mingqi's is also for Shanghai University. Her family isn't well off. She can't even afford tuition. As classmates, we should help her out. The sultry summer evening breeze blew past. I felt a chill run through me, my heart sinking to the bottom. He changed MY? Yes. I'd always been completely open with Yen since childhood. He knew my preferences, my hobbies, and naturally, he could recite my phone number and ID number by heart. So, as the deadline approached, he kept an eye on it and checked. And then changed my college application. I didn't even have time to tell him that altering someone else's is illegal. I hastily hung up and looked at my phone. It was already 11:58 p.m., almost too late. Fortunately, I could recall my exam registration number and ID number by heart. Using every bit of speed I had, I managed to change MY back to Beijing University just before midnight struck. Seeing the result finalized, I finally relaxed. I was about to message Lin Nua on WeChat to tell her we could go to the same school. But a little red notification popped up on MY. Tapping in, I saw it was a post from Yu Mingqi. The photo was a group shot of her and the others from the mall that day, skiing and soaking in hot springs together. The caption read, with friends, with loved ones, toasting to youth, to being young. What made it especially funny was that she'd subtly tagged me. This was practically an open provocation, wasn't it? I curled my lips, opened the chat with her, and sent a screenshot of a video. Open your eyes and look, what's this? I suggest you stop here, or I can't guarantee what I might do next. In the chat, the name Yu Mingqi occasionally changed too. But after waiting a long time, I never received a reply from her. When I clicked into her again, I saw she'd already deleted that post. The tension during the college entrance exam period had been too much. Now that I'd relaxed, I made plans with Lin Nua to travel to Yunnan, wandering through several neighboring provinces. Whenever I received messages or calls from Yen, I just hung up or deleted them directly. My unwillingness to communicate was interpreted by him as jealousy. How long are you going to stay mad? Isn't that enough? If you don't reply, I'll take Yu Mingqi abroad. I ignored him completely. Saying nothing, I just kept blocking and deleting. Meanwhile, Yen nervously knocked on my door, holding handcrafted dolls he'd made himself, one blue, one pink, representing us in his eyes. Imagining the surprise on my face when I saw them, he couldn't wait. But when the door opened, the figure he'd imagined wasn't there. He instinctively asked, Uncle, Auntie, is Hee home? I haven't seen her all summer. I brought her a gift, and since school's starting soon, I thought we could go together. My mother's expression was calm as she said flatly, I forgot to tell you, Xiaoyan He has already left for school. You don't need to go with her. Yen was taken aback, but quickly assumed I was still angry. He turned to leave, but my father stopped him and hinted vaguely. Xiaoyan, some things once missed are missed. After school starts, the Xia family will be busy. Your aunt and I won't have time to entertain. I hope you won't come by again. A bit puzzled, Yen left to pack his bags. When he opened the door, he found his parents sitting solemnly on the living room sofa, looking serious. He was even more confused. He greeted them and was about to head to his room when his father stopped him. Don't go to the Xia family anymore. Xia, he has already left for university elsewhere. The engagement was called off over a month ago. From now on, you're just childhood acquaintances, nothing more. Yu Yan frowned and instinctively said, how is that possible? Mom, Dad, are you joking? But looking up and seeing his parents' cold expressions, he belatedly realized it was true. Yu's mother sighed, frustrated. Now that Xia He's ears are healed and her last flaw is gone, if she wants to, she'll have plenty of suitors to choose from. How could she still settle for our family? Old Yu, why did you stop me back then? Xia He's soft-hearted. If I'd brought up the old days and played the sympathy card, she might not have called off the engagement. Yu's father was thoroughly annoyed. You think persuasion would have worked? Over the years, the Xia family has surpassed ours. Xia He might be easy to fool, but her parents are wolves protecting their cub. Do you think I wanted to call off the engagement? I was afraid of trouble for the company. As he listened, Yu Yan was completely stunned. After a long silence, he asked, when did her ears heal? Though puzzled by the question, Yu's father replied, old Xia said they did surgery right after the college entrance exam. It's been a while now. Your mom and I took you back for ancestor worship then, so Xia He probably didn't get a chance to tell you. Yu Yan's mind kept replaying the scene from my birthday. The moment he took off my hearing aid and said those words. Burden, long tired of you. I really wish you hadn't been saved back then at 9 and had just died. Yu Yan, you've passed my test. Now I believe you don't like Xia He. So, tomorrow we can go on a date. Every word stabbed into his heart like needles, bringing piercing pain. Yu Yan's vision darkened, and he inexplicably recalled that day at the mall. When he and the others were buying winter clothes and ski gear and ran into me and my mom. After we left, one of his friends said, I feel like there's something different about Xia He. He'd been too busy consoling Yimingqi at the time. He hadn't even noticed that I wasn't wearing my hearing aid that day. Learning from mutual friends that Yu Yan was looking for me. I wasn't the least bit surprised. Maybe he'd finally found out my ears were healed and belatedly realized that I'd overheard all those harsh words in the private room that day. But none of that mattered anymore. My days in Beijing were fulfilling. Even though military training was exhausting like a dog and I tanned a few shades, I'd never felt so light and free. I joined many clubs, made many new friends. I even went to a mixer hosted by senior students and added a few guys on WeChat. So when I saw that familiar figure of a man downstairs at the female dorm, I was genuinely somewhat surprised. I thought about taking a detour to avoid him. But Yu Yan spotted me first and strode over. His tone carried a hint of pleading. Hee, I've missed you so much. Can we talk, please? My roommates, thinking we had some kind of relationship, winked at each other for a bit before heading off together. I looked up at the sky, let out a long sigh, then looked at him expressionlessly. If you have something to say, say it. I'm busy and need to get back to rest. Yu Yan's eyes reddened, his voice trembling slightly. I know I was wrong. That day, I was just caught up in the moment with everyone watching. I said those things because of peer pressure. I thought you couldn't hear, so I said them to save face. And agreeing to that date with Yimingqi that day was a joke. We never actually went on a date. I let out a laugh. Is that all? I looked at him seriously and said softly. You've taken off my hearing aid many times, and it wasn't just once you said such awful things, making everyone laugh at me, right? You say you never dated Yimingqi, but didn't you go buy ski gear together and plan to go to Harbin? Since you did it, don't hypocritically shift all the blame onto others. You always say Yimingqi is young, but I'm a year younger than her. You say she's had it tough, at least she's healthy. These years, how many disdainful glances have I endured because of my air condition? Did you ever once stand up for me? I'll never forget that time in freshman year. I participated in a debate competition with some friends, and our side won. As we were leaving, the opposing side's second speaker kept mocking